Oh, I gotta put up, hold on. I'm a little behind. I got caught up in the emotions of all this wonderfulness and togetherness. Get our PowerPoint going for you, Deborah.
No worries.
Oh, geez.
Connection process. Yes. Record. Has everybody hit the got it button? Okay. So I'd like to start off by allowing us to center into ourselves. All of our empathic, connected hearts have gone out to be there for everyone else. And I want to bring that energy back into you. And that's how I define centering. And how we want to try to do this is to just relax into our bodies, into who we are, into our individual spark that together blends in with the rest of the light of the world. But if we don't tend our own flame, we're not helping the world. So let's just drop in and literally allow your energy to fall down and into your lower belly. Feel your hips being supported in the chair. Allow Mother Earth to use her gravity to pull our feet down into the floor. And see if it allows the rest of you to soften just a little bit. Your jaw is a main culprit, your shoulders and neck. Sometimes your belly gets tight for those who are nervous or feeling that kind of anxiety. And just slowing down our breath so that we can feel ourselves. And then once we're fully connected into this body, then we can also tap into our divinity. So allow yourself to connect in to however and whoever and whatever suits you. Whatever your relationship is with the divine and the universe. So now we are like a cell phone and we're turned on so we can broadcast, and we're also plugged in so we're getting charged. This is the way that we want to imagine ourselves. We are not here to do this work without being plugged into our divine connection and plugged into our Mother Earth connection. So let's see if we can't stay in ourselves. Another paradox. Can we stay in and be with another? Because that is true presence and true leadership. And that's what all of you are. And you'll even be more powerful. I'm finding it, the few moments a day that I can tap in and be me and be with the other are the most grace-filled of all. Jenny, I love your name, Jenny Grace. Okay, so now that we have pulled into this space, we can now fully connect to other. I would love to introduce you, because I know none of you know her, the fantabulous Karen Hoffman, founder of this and many other initiatives in St. Louis.
Oh, since I don't know anyone on this call, I'll introduce you. Today, I started off, for those that weren't on before 9 o'clock, that I am ever so grateful for God working through me and through some of the things I've been through to help us create this beautiful magazine that Tracy can hold up. If she's still got it right next to her, Be the Change St. Louis. I did not have a plan for another magazine ever in my life. And God used things in my life to help me go here to start a magazine. And it has brought me through, I've had a very rough couple of years, and when this started in, I don't know, February or March, somewhere in there, this has been my joy. And I want to share that all of you on the call today, you all have a calling, do something. And I believe that Gateway, we are helping people do that something. Our vision is to inspire dreams into action. We want to positively change the world. We want to show people that we don't have to be negative. We don't have to hate our neighbors. We don't have to be lone wolves. I call it Lone Ranger, but we don't have to be. That we can be a community that supports. And if we inspire you into action and we help give you the voice to make the difference, then Karen Messler, I'm thinking of you right now, the work you're doing and the children's lives that these little people are going to feel loved because of something you do at Easter. You already were doing it, but if we can help with that, inspire action, give voice, clarity to the dreams of individuals, it really does create a ripple effect. There's a beautiful story about Pookie Lee and our ripple effect, where I felt like God asked me to call her at like 7 o'clock in the morning on a CPW day. And who does that? Who calls somebody? It's not not politically correct, but what do you call it? It's not, you don't call before 8 o'clock in the morning. But I felt God over and over again saying, call her and invite her to sing Be the Change. I'm not Be the Change. That's our magazine. What is the song we sing? I am responsible. Sorry. Anyway, so that ripple effect, she ended up going to Jordan. She also ended up connecting because of her trip to Jordan. Because of that song, Marty K. Casey was invited on a global platform, and Gateway to Dreams is their ripple effect. And they will tell you, Gateway to Dreams, this community is their ripple. All right. I can't remember what comes up next on our PowerPoint here. So Missy, help me out here. I don't know if I have anything else that comes up. Do we have anything? And you're muted. And maybe I don't know. I just want to say, since it's not coming up, that this community gave me the wings to do the magazine. This community, I've had magazines before and people do not, thank you, Tracy. Tracy's showing Marty Casey's Ungun. But I've had magazines before and I had to call people and get appointments to get ads. People were calling me. One of the very first people out of the gate was Linda Brady, who doesn't even have a business. And Linda wanted to buy an ad to thank me for all I have done to help her and to help the Gateway to Dreams community. Now, I wouldn't let her word it the way she wanted it to, because it would make me blush, but she wanted to be part of it. She paid $250 to say thank you. Lady E, Enezer Lane, I was talking to her about the quarter page ad, and she's like, no, go big or go home. And last night she was telling me no. It was, instead of a $250 ad, she bought a $500 ad. She goes, I knew that this magazine needed support. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're so blessed. We're so blessed. Anyway, I don't know what comes up next, but I'm done.
Hey, Karen, are you not able to see the screen?
I see our vision and mission, and that's all.
Okay.
I don't see what comes after that.
Can you
Hold
go
on.
to the next? Yeah.
That now I see it.
Okay.
So in the magazine, we actually have our values, and we have added one more to it. But the short version: love more, judge less, think of positive possibilities. We really believe in heart smart connections and collaboration, pay it forward networking, energetic empathy, empowering language. And the latest one that I need to get to you, Missy, for the PowerPoint, and it's in the magazine, is that we're a strength-based community. The work of Gallup shows what happens in companies when employees and they start living with their strengths. And I know for me personally, the Strengths Finder changed my life, having the assessment and learning to language my gifts. I knew I had these gifts, but I didn't know how to language them. So anyway, that's our values.
And you were just, do we still need the Be the Change sponsors and donors?
Yes.
Volunteer program.
You guys, this is Karen Garcia that was part of our launch. She passed away in June of 2019. And so we have pay it forward cards we used to give out at events. I think that we want to thank Tiffany Huckelman every month. She does the loan. She does as Loan Orange. In fact, we had a talk yesterday about how God, I'm sorry. That's my husband's ringtone, and I didn't silence it. He's had cancer surgery this morning, and he's calling to tell me how it is, but I'll call him back. But we were talking about how God used her and us to come together during the pandemic. She was actually our speaker in March, which I'd completely forgotten, and we weren't having a face-to-face. And here she has the technology background to help us move into the Zoom world. And, when we were talking earlier about those of us that were on the call about whether it's God at work or the universe at work or whatever, how it seems to touch Gateway all the time. Our next one should be our sponsor, which is American Family. If you would like to be a sponsor, it's $100 for the month. And then this is also recorded as a YouTube. I guess it's on YouTube. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm a little off. I'm still, I feel like I'm like.
You're good. You're good.
I feel like if I was a drinker,
So
I'd
let
drop
me,
a little.
yeah. So to be a sponsor is an opportunity for anyone, right, Karen, that they
Yes.
can pay $100 and be the sponsor of this program today or the next month or the next month. And what we want to do is, I don't know how this happens. Normally we have the person online to do a little commercial that we then promote for them. Do we
Well,
cut
just
this?
talk about Dawn, because they've prepaid. Tiffany, is it you or is it Misty that usually talks about American Family and Dawn?
I've got her bio. Yeah.
It's usually the MC, and I have Dawn's bio in the agenda to tell about her.
Yeah, that's what I've got. So I didn't know whether we cut this piece out and then it goes on connecting and promoting women, or do you have to go through the whole thing to find this particular ad? Do you know, or this promotion? That was my question in terms of.
I'm not following your question.
I'll ask you offline. So this month's sponsor, Dawn Berry of American Family Insurance, is an amazing woman. I just want to say that right off the bat. She's a licensed insurance professional with over 12 years experience in property and casualty insurance industry. That's your homeowners, your auto, and that kind of thing. And she has 19 years experience of life insurance sales. In addition to being a licensed insurance professional, Dawn has earned a Bachelor of Science degree in economics from University of Missouri, St. Louis. She's a daughter of 2, sister to 1, a friend to many, and the proud mother of 4 amazing individuals. Her oldest daughter participated in the 2021 U.S. Olympics hammer thrower event this year. Her youngest daughter is at Mizzou, pursuing her career in health sciences. Her oldest son is an entrepreneur, like his mom, and has started his own sports training business. And her youngest son is currently a junior in high school. And at 6'2", basketball is his superpower. When Dawn is not working, you can find her enjoying a walk at Creve Coeur Lake Park, which is one of her favorite places to take in nature. Dawn enjoys reading a good book and solving puzzles. While loving the challenge of jigsaw puzzles, she prefers Sudoku or a good logic puzzle when she just sits down to wind down for the evening. Dawn loves attending church and serving in the accounting ministry. Some of Dawn's other hobbies include cooking, writing, and traveling. Dawn believes life is best enjoyed in the presence of family and great friends, while fulfilling a worthwhile purpose of serving others before self. So if you're looking to make a switch in terms of your homeowners, renters, or life insurance or auto insurance, we recommend that you give Dawn a call. Okay, that's my ad for Dawn.
Yay, yay, yay. That was beautiful.
It was a good ad.
Thank you.
Great.
I can't believe having a daughter go to the Olympics. That was just like so exciting. So we're going to head into the getting to know you demo. Has everyone participated in this in the past?
No.
Oh, we got new peoples. Cool.
Catherine
Okay.
Fletcher, you have, but Catherine Hughes, you have not, I know.
Right,
Okay.
I haven't.
So this is an opportunity to get to know each other in a very short period of time. And we give you an agenda to follow, or an idea of some quick ways to answer questions to share the most potent information. So when that template is posted into chat, you can open it up and use that as your, hey, Tiffany, do they need to share it? Or do they need to save it onto their computer because it goes away after
Yeah,
they
so
go to
in
their-
the chat is a PDF you can download, and I also put the text in the chat, or you can take a quick snapshot with your phone, but I don't have a way to get it into the actual breakout room. So you'll need to somehow record it for yourself now.
Okay. So
Or
that
have
before,
or you could have the chat room up, right, and have it on the chat room.
it goes away when they go into their rooms though.
Okay, got
Yeah,
it.
that's what I was asking. So, so if you could get a copy of that somehow on your computer or on your phone so that you have this agenda, you will be given 60 seconds. Yes, that is 1 minute to both complete it and then when you get a chance to share it to your group. And for those of you who are not familiar, Tiffany does this magic thing and she puts you all into these separate rooms. And so you're in a very small room. So the intimate conversation will be sharing with a few people who really will get to know who you are individually as an individual. There's a facilitator in each group. So when you get into your meeting, your small group, if you could determine who's the facilitator, they will be the person that will help keep everybody on time. And the facilitator will be the person with the birthday closest to today. So determine who that is, and then they will support keeping everybody on time so that everybody gets a chance to share. It's important that we keep it moving along. Because you'll get to know everybody's names in there, if there's additional information that you want to share, you can always connect with them and say, here's my cell phone and all of that. Okay. If you attended the September, that doesn't make sense. If you attended the August meeting and didn't get a chance to share your 60-second commercial, please go first. And please be attentive to time and conscious of making sure that everybody gets a chance to share. Okay, I'll try to make this super quick so you can see that it can be done. Hi, my name is Deborah Leanne, and I own a business called Authentic Leadership Academy. My business specializes in leadership development for groups of women and individual executives it's coaching and retreat facilitation and trainings and workshops. I'm looking for partnerships and connections with anyone who does leadership development for an organization that might be, or teams that are looking for team building to build their leadership collective. In my professional life right now, I need just how to figure out how to use my Bluetooth headset with my laptop in Zoom. In my personal life, I'm just looking for a vacation. It looks like we've both been not feeling so fantastic here, and we were supposed to go to California next week, and that may have to be postponed. In the next 60 days, I'm looking to purchase probably a tablet. And a dream I have, you guys have heard me say it, I'm going to keep saying it, of doing a leadership retreat for women in someplace beautiful like Italy or, Hawaii. So that's a dream. Okay. I probably went over. Sorry. Nobody was yelling at me that my time was up.
I forgot to
That's
set the
because we love
timer.
listening to you speak, Deborah.
Aw, thanks, Missy. Okay, so is there any questions before we move into these small groups and you do your own introduction? Everybody good? Okay,
Good.
Tiffany, do your magic. We'll see you on the other side, everybody.
Looks like the biggest room will have 4 people in it, so I'll give you about 5 minutes total. So just manage your time well, and you'll get a notification when you have about a minute left before the room will just shut down and bring you back in here. So here we go. Doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo, doo.
I'm gonna hang out here with you, you
Okay.
lovelies. Oop. Did Michelle not get into a room?
Michelle, I'm going to move you into a different room if that's okay, since you're still here. Oh, wait.
Oh, maybe she just didn't hit the join.
I just moved her. Oh, no, that would have been okay.
I'm going to mute myself because I'm going to eat some
we
apple
go.
slices.
You want me to go into the room since there's only two of them?
If you want to,
Oh,
if you don't want to, don't worry about it.
Oh, it's just Sheva. Is Aneezer on?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, they're both in there.
Okay.
Is Vivial in there somewhere?
Yep. Vivial's in with
Yeah.
room 2.
Okay.
Yeah. How are you, Miss Deborah? I feel like I haven't seen you in forever.
I know. I took kind of the summer to consolidate and integrate a whole bunch of different material, several different books and trainings for my retreat that's coming up in October.
Oh, nice.
And then I have a team building retreat after that in November. So I've been kind of like in information gathering mode, which I love. It's very creative. And, I draw things like this, like to show the spreadsheet of what I'm going to be teaching. Look at this. This is day 1 and day 2. So, but it's
So
awesome.
where does one find what you're doing? Or do you just post on Facebook?
I work with a group called Leadership Collaborative. They're my biggest client, and they about every 18 months they bring in about 20 to 25 women for an 18-month cohort, and they go through the whole thing together. There's 3 retreats.
Okay.
They go to 3 retreats and do a leadership 360, and it's a deep dive. So the first retreat's all about the emotional intelligence of their leadership, and this one that I'm doing now is all about the somatic, the feeling, so that they can ground their presence in, so that they can speak with wisdom and all of that.
Okay. Okay. So
yeah, they're from all over the country. I mean, I do have one person from St. Louis this year, but normally they're from, Belize, and they're a bunch of sisters. They're sisters. They're religious women.
Okay. Oh, how cool.
So I get to be as woo-woo weird. I mean, this is like this is what I want to talk about God moments is I knew I wanted to serve this international global group of change-making women. These are all like these high level, PhD, brilliant, smart women who are not in touch with their bodies, but super spiritual, know they have big work to do in the world. It's just really, I just love my work.
How exciting. That's exciting.
Thank you. And it is nice to be back. I will be back again in December, but I told them I could only do 3 or 4 of these a year because they always fall on in the middle of something.
Yeah, you know what? I had sent out that email for next year, and I probably need to review.
You're right.
I dropped the ball on Angie, so I dropped the ball.
I was like, oh, I didn't even know she was here. Okay.
Yeah, I dropped the ball. So let's just move forward.
Well, let's explain what Dream Tank is so that for future, do you want to tell them what that is?
Sure. What we do is offer an opportunity for 1 month it's a nonprofit and the next month it's a for-profit, just to share what they do. And we use Group Genius to collaborate and share ideas. So like if Angie was on and Angie said, I want to build my practice around women who are going through divorce, we could all use our voices and the chat room to share ideas with her, how she might be able to, reach a different market or speak to a group. So our Dream Tank is to help people move forward.
Okay. Thank you. And how do you get to be featured as a Dream Tank person?
We invite people, but if you would like to be a Dream Tank person, reach out to me.
Okay, a recipient, I guess it would be, right? Okay, cool. So let's move into our educational speaker. I can't wait to hear you, Catherine. I haven't heard you speak for a couple years now, so I'm sure everything has changed a lot in your life. Catherine Frazier was recruited to train for the Olympics in 5-event pentathlon following high school for the U.S. Air Force. Wow, another athlete.
Wow, wow.
Olympian. She began her career as an enlisted airman and achieved her goal becoming a USAF, United States Air Force officer. She holds a master's in international business from St. Louis University. Military experience sparked her passion for leading and training diverse individuals and teams to effectively work in various work environments. She observed firsthand how critical interpersonal communications was to survive and operate in dangerous situations when writing and facilitating wartime scenario events. She transitioned her experience to directing and leading the GE Leadership and Career Center for a plastics manufacturing plant located in Mount Vernon, Indiana, and has consulted with a variety of Fortune 500 companies. Catherine consults in the area of organizational change for executives, leaders, managers, and teams. She enjoys speaking and coaching on how to build new communication strategies, EQ, to successfully lead in the current and challenging business landscape. Please help me to welcome Catherine Frazier.
Unmute.
There I am. Good morning. Thank you for having me today. It's been a pleasure attending these and networking with people through Zoom. So this is my first Zoom presentation. I only have 15. Yeah, I've come a long way in a few months. Since I only have 15 minutes, I decided to put together this PowerPoint on emotional intelligence, or we call it EQ. It's know thyself. So the thing I'd like to do today, if you'll change the slide. Quickly, what I'd like to do is just introduce you to what is emotional intelligence, or EQ. Are we born with, we call it EI as well. And why should I learn about EI and how effective people develop their EI skills? Okay, thank you. Basically, there are 5 skills that go into emotional intelligence. First is self-awareness, motivation, self-regulation, social skills, empathy, and I add relationship management. So what is emotional intelligence? It was first discovered. It served as a missing link with a peculiar finding. Basically, rational area of your brain, the front part of your brain, can stop the emotion felt by your limbic system, which we'll talk about in a minute. The 2 areas do influence each other and maintain constant communications. And this was from Payne and was coined the term emotional intelligence, 1988. Just a few points. People with the highest levels of intelligence, IQ, outperform those with average IQs just 20% of the time. However, people with average IQs outperform those with high IQ 70% of the time. It was previously thought that your success depends on IQ. Now, scientists realize there must be another variable that explains success above one's IQ. Well, they have had years of research and studies and emotional intelligence, or EQ, as the critical factor. I'm sure many of you who've been in this business for a while, Daniel Goleman is the person that has a great book, and he says emotional intelligence, or EQ, makes up 2/3 of the likely success of business executives, managers, supervisors. Compared with intellectual capacity, makes up about 1/3. Research reports that we temporarily lose 10 to 15 points of IQ when we make decisions in an emotional reactive state of mind. The communications between your emotional and rational brain is the physical source of emotional intelligence. So There's physical pathways for emotional intelligence, starts in the brain. Your primary reaction, your emotions, and today we were talking about positive things, it enters your limbic system, your limbic, then must travel to the front of your brain before you can think rationally about your experience and how to respond. Would you put your hand at the base of your skull right now, and then at the top of put the other hand right in the top? Yes. So what happens is your primary reaction and emotions start right at the base of your neck. So push right there, where you're right at the base of your skull. And for you to have a rational response, it has to travel from there all the way up to your head, up to the front part. Emotional intelligence involves many skills and tools, but the most important skill is learning how to manage your reactions to a situation, event, people. Okay. So next, you'll see this is basically, I tried to draw this for you. Feeling and thinking are miles apart. So when you put your hand at the base of your skull, basically what it is, spinal cord, situation, event, enters brain here. Most people react immediately. Of course, if it's a very positive experience, that's really great. However, the limbic system, I feel here, I react here. Could be a reactionary mode. Now take a look at the frontal lobe. You have to make a decision to go from your limbic system all the way to the frontal lobe for you to make a rational decision. And many of us, emotionally, if it's trauma or conflict, many times people react right there in the beginning in the limbic system. So you can learn how to handle your emotions by understanding that situation, events enter the brain, and somehow you have to train yourself to then think, what am I going to do? How am I going to react? Instead of having an explosion, react, whatever you might do. Okay, thank you. Normally, events, you have a reaction and an outcome. The goal for me is for you to think about how can I, when I'm under stress, how can I make choices? But you can see how far it is from the bottom of your neck all the way up to the front of your skull. Well, there are a lot of people, Bradbury and Gives one, over 500,000 people were EQ tested. And the study concluded that there is a global deficit in understanding and managing one's emotions. Only 36 of those 500,000 people tested were able to accurately identify their emotions as they happen. That's kind of shocking. And that's why we really do a lot of work in conflict resolution, a lot of areas in communications. So they validated that emotional intelligence is very critical in your success. Okay. Now, those survey results, 2/3 of people surveyed are typically controlled by emotions and are not yet skilled at spotting them. So there's a lot of things a person can do. First of all, let's be aware that you have to understand, are you a reactionary person? How do you handle events that occur? Okay, thank you. Self-awareness is one of those critical areas in emotional intelligence. It's the ability to recognize and understand your moods, emotions, and drives, as well as their effect on others. Okay. Self-regulation, this is very important. I spend a lot of time in my business working with people on self-regulation. It's ability to control or redirect disruptive impulses or moods. The propensity to suspend judgment, to think before acting. So I showed you in that visual, there's a little bit of a gap between your limbic system and then getting up there where you think before you act. Okay, next. Motivation. That's part of emotional intelligence. A passion to work for reasons that go beyond money or status. There's a propensity to pursue goals with energy and persistence. Next. Then there's a social skill. Proficiency in managing relationships, building networks, ability to find common ground and build rapport. And then, well, again, we have to become aware that when an event occurs, stressful as it may be, and the reaction, your reaction, you can control your reaction with training. So your outcome. Now, I don't really want to read this whole thing, but there has been studies where you can identify what is your EQ temperament. And it's important that as a business leader, you can think as you are the emotional thermostat of the work group. And it's the same thing with your family. If you tend to be a reactionary person, that's the thermostat that also controls the culture of your family. Okay, thank you. This is another thing I took from Top 20 Parents. Why learn about emotional intelligence? Well, particularly if you're a parent, managing your impulses and emotions, recognizing one's own feelings. A lot of people they're not even in touch with their feelings. Motivating oneself in the face of frustrations. And I think it's critical. Active listening, empathy, ability to read the feelings of others, and then handling relationships well. Again, EQ is the ability to get along in the world by managing yourself and your relationship with others. Okay, now here's something I think is important. You can separate your reaction from any person's behavior with thinking and being aware. Until you do, you keep giving away your power. When you have a reaction or your emotional intelligence, if you just react, then it stays right there at the base of your skull, it doesn't go where you need to go to make reasonable choices on how I'm going to react. One of the things that I do in particular, when I find myself reacting and finding myself in my head a lot, I say the serenity prayer. It really does calm me down and keeps me focused so that I don't allow myself to overreact. And that in the middle of the night when I'm waking up with a crisis, I stick to the serenity prayer. What ends up happening is you end up becoming a puppet. Anyone can pull your strings if you don't separate your reaction from any person's behavior. Okay, next. Now, what is your emotional fluency? It's your ability to sense, translate, and effectively apply the power of emotions in a productive manner. Yet most of us have training in how to use our car, computer, but we don't really spend a lot of time on identifying and becoming aware of how are we reacting to the world around us, to people, to our work environment. So I put down welcome to driver's ed for your emotions. Fasten your seatbelt, please. Next. And I just want to remind you again that your limbic system is how I feel here, I react here. And so the key to emotional intelligence is it's not just a one size fits all. We all have the way we react to people, places, things. And it's important for us to realize we can choose if we can stop ourselves to make a choice to go to the frontal lobe. Next. I just wanted to bring this up, and that has to do with emotional intelligence. There are high intensities of feelings, medium intensity, and low intensity. When I'm angry, and high intensity of feelings can be furious, enraged, outraged, boiling, seething, loathsome, and betrayed. Even to the point of low intensity, perturbed, annoyed, uptight, resistant, irritated, and touchy. I'm sad. That's another get in touch with your being sad. And it's something as families, we have to teach our children to be in touch with their feelings. High intensity of feelings when you're sad. You get depressed and agonized, alone, hurt, dejected, hopeless, sorrowful, miserable. And it could even go as low as being unhappy, moody, blue, upset, and disappointed. And I'm afraid. A lot of kids don't really know how to say, little kids or even adults, I am afraid. High intensity of feelings, terrified, horrified, scared, stiff, petrified, fearful, panicky, frantic, and shocked. When those things come to the base of your skull, how do you react? And it's important to know those are all valid feelings. It could be as low as cautious, nervous, worried, timid. And then when I'm happy, of course, that's an easier one. We all like to be happy, but the high intensity, elated, excited, overjoyed, thrilled, exuberant, ecstatic, to the low where you're glad, contented, pleasant, tender, and pleased, or mellow. And that goes to the feelings of being ashamed. High intensity of feelings from sorrowful to admonished. And then the medium intensity of feelings, you may feel apologetic, unworthy, sneaky, guilty, embarrassed. So the point is, you want to question everything. Question thinking is a system of tools using questions to expand how you approach virtually any situation. You have to say to yourself, how am I going to react? It's almost a split second where if you learn to question, why am I reacting? It's a personal decision. It's a great way to create a foundation for making wiser choices, become aware of what you're feeling. We'll end with this. Well, actually, I have one other thing. A powerful EI skill to increase your EQ, change your questions, change your life. So this slide basically says your ability to think productively rather than reactively lies in the heart of question thinking. And if there's a certain amount of self-discipline that goes into this, because you're making a choice. You're either reacting or you're being proactive in handling, changing, or making a choice on how you're going to react to what's happening. Okay, the next. I just want to introduce this. When you're born, people say, am I born with emotional intelligence? We all have certain strengths, of course. Emotional intelligence is one of those things you can learn. It's not one of those things you're born with. But I like to summarize by saying all of us were born, we were sucked into a door A when we were born. Door A, judge your questions, view messages, high control, judgmental, negative mindset, duplicity, critical. There is no door B. That's my last slide. Door B, which should be last. There is no door B. We must create our own door B. And that's really, it's like a vacuum cleaner. You get sucked in when you're born, but now what we're doing is I'm responsible is a perfect song. And what Karen and Gateway to Dreams is doing, you're creating a door B. And that's my presentation on Introduction to Emotional Intelligence.
Catherine, that was excellent. And I have had so many different people speak to me about this topic, but you brought in a whole different dimension. Thank you. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Catherine about the material she just presented? Go ahead, Karen.
Is there an assessment we can take online to get a sense of our emotional intelligence, where we are?
I don't know about online, but let me look at my materials. I will get back to you on that.
Thank you.
Catherine, I have a question for you. Having been studying a school of thought spiritually for many years, we learn about this every day. And, you know, I've often thought, have you, just with what you teach and train the adults that you work with. Have you ever thought about approaching schools? I think, because so many parents aren't even aware of this kind of school of thought, if it's something you've looked at, bringing to the elementary schools and really starting kids on that path when they're the most formidable, to have a more higher elevation of
Mhm.
IQ, as adults, having this kind of learning.
No, I haven't. Although one year I did spend a whole lot of time with a sixth grade in our town, and went through this and how to get along with each other, teams, win-lose situations. And they went to junior high and said that it was very useful. But I wouldn't know how to go about that.
Well, I was just going to add, Catherine, when you were talking, I used to work at United Services, and I worked with kiddos that were age 4 or 5. And one of the things that we had was we actually had dolls that had happy faces, sad faces, scared faces. And we also had like cards, like social cue cards. So that was such a great age. And I think Missy's right, getting this into middle school and high, like these kids really have to learn that it's okay, but you need to handle those you need to know what you're feeling right now. I think they lose that. But I love that we did it with 4 and 5-year-olds, because it really helped parents too, to figure out like how their kids were acting and, validate their feelings.
Right.
Oh, wonderful.
Thank you. This was great. And Catherine, if people wanted to reach you to ask any questions or whatever, can you put your information in the chat for us?
Sure.
Okay.
Be glad to. Thank you.
Yes, it was a pleasure to hear from you. I would like to invite everybody to take a minute to stretch. We have our Rosemary Britt speaking next, and I would just want us all to take a bio break, or quickly, like 1 minute, like be back. And
Bio break in 1 minute. 1 minute?
yeah, you can go to
condition that affects the red blood cells. Those cells become hard and sticky, and they get stuck in blood vessels that cause individuals that live with this a lot of pain. And it happens when both the mother and the father have the gene, and they pass it on to the child. And although this is a dreadful condition, my journey or my story is not completely dismal. I found myself pregnant at the age of 14. And although that is not ideal, I chose to carry my child, take care of her. But she was born with this condition. I did not know that I lived with the gene. I did not know to ask my mate about his status. And so my child was born with sickle cell disease. It did begin to start causing her pain when she was about 6 months old, and other complications. And I had no idea. I had never heard of it. My mom kind of remembered from back when the Black Panthers were doing testing, like in the 70s. And she says, oh, wow, but she hadn't heard of it since that time. So I just had no idea about this. And so I began to read everything that I could to learn how to take care of my child the best that I could. I found a specialist and would take her to the doctors and that. And I felt like I spent more time in the hospital than in my high school classroom. So mind you, I am a teenager trying to get through high school with this child that has this condition. And but I figured out ways to make this work for us and for me to raise her the best that I could with limited complications. I kept up with all of the research, and I just raised her the best way that I knew how. And I found that there were many children that had this condition that did not graduate from high school because they spend so much time in the hospital. away from their classrooms that they would fall behind and could not graduate. I encouraged my daughter to live her life to the fullest, live her life as if she was healed or cured the next day. And that meant that you have to finish high school. And so we had to get very creative in how that looked. But she was able to graduate high school early, and she started community college. That was another thing, that many of the children did not go on to college. Their parents believed that because they had this condition that you're just sick and you can't do, and they would kind of coddle them and hold them close and limit what they were able to do. And I just believe that she was created for greater. And we didn't know exactly why she was born with this condition, but she believed that it was to be a testimony to other people and to affect others' lives. So I was her greatest cheerleader and told her whatever it is that she wanted to do, then I would help her to achieve that, even if we had to somehow modify. So this is a condition that can affect you if you go out in cold weather. It causes your blood vessels to restrict, which will ultimately cause the blood cells to get clogged in the blood vessels and begin to cause pain. So there are a lot of things that can be limiting, but she figured out a way to layer her clothing and still look cute like the other girls. And we just made the best of it. And so I kind of wondered, often, well, why, Lord, would you allow this to be the case? But we kept pushing forward because she believed that she was a testimony for others. And so she went on to college. She wanted to go away to college, and it was a little hesitancy on my part, but I wanted her to be able to live her best life. So we compromised, and she went to Lincoln University in Jefferson City, Missouri. So she was far enough away to feel that she was away to college, but close enough that I can get to her. It's a 2-hour drive. I can get there in an hour if she needed me. So there was a Amtrak train there, so she could come home often with her bags of dirty laundry and that kind of thing. But we made it work. She got her bachelor's degree and decided that she wanted to go for her master's. Mom, I need to do my master's. And I said, oh no, let's just work with your bachelor's, and we will, figure out once you start working if you need a master's degree for that. And she said, well, while I'm in the process, I really would like to continue. I said, well, it may cost you a lot of student loans. If you can figure out a way to that we can get this paid for without you having to take out loans, I will cheer you on till the end. She comes back to me a week later and said, Mom, guess what? I got my master's degree completely paid for. They even gave her a scooter so that she could manage the hills in Jefferson City on her campus, as well as a new laptop. And so that just spoke to her listening to me about sometimes you have to modify things, but you can make it happen. And she was very determined. So I said, well, I guess we're going on for our master's degree. So I put on my cheerleading skirt and got out my pom-poms to cheer her on. She went on to do her master's. She wanted to pursue mental health. And the reason is that when you live with a chronic, painful condition, that can be very stressful on your body and your mind. And there wasn't a lot going on in terms of providing mental health resources for individuals with sickle cell. So she said, well, I'm going to make it. I'm going to create it. And so we were setting up to plan for how she was going to be a part of helping people with sickle cell through her mental health degree. In the process of all of this, I did have a desire to start a organization for sickle cell because there wasn't something in the community. And I had a nurse and a doctor that kept urging me to start a nonprofit. And I told them that I would pray about it and I would let them know. I knew that this was something that would be a lot of work. I did not necessarily have the knowledge of how to create or start a nonprofit. And I jumped in with both feet after participating in one of Karen's workshops and decided that this is what I was going to do. And I was going to give it my all. And that if I had this dream to do this, that God was going to see it through. And that even if he ended it, you know, a week later, a month later, that it served the purpose that it was supposed to serve. So in me starting that, I told the hospital that I've decided to start this nonprofit, and they reached out to me and said, well, we've been waiting on you. We have grants that we've been waiting on for a nonprofit to fill that space. So I felt as if this is really what I was supposed to be doing. And it came a little more clear to me that although this was a dreadful condition, that as I looked at my life, that it was like a setup, like God had just put all of these things in place and I was just walking into them. So I have started this organization. We are 10 years old this year. And we have been flourishing. We support individuals in the community that are living with this disease, as well as bring education in the community to people that are unaware of it. The worst thing to me is to have a parent bring a child into the world with this condition and they had no clue. So I can educate people and they may still choose to roll that dice, even though they know their possibilities of giving birth to a child with this disease. But that's not the decision for me to make. I just do my part in educating them. It's the ones that just simply don't know. And then they come to me and say, how did this happen? Oh, I didn't know. And they're very afraid for their children. Often they are told that their children won't live past a certain age. That age has been going up, but no parent wants to hear that. As I was told, many people told me that my child wouldn't live past the age of 21. And I had to tell them that you did not create her, and you cannot put an expiration date on her. And so we just went along with that thought in mind that there was a purpose and a plan for all of this. And so we have been connecting with various partners. It's been growing. I've been super excited. We just celebrated our 10th annual sickle cell walk on September 11th. We had a very good turnout. We did do it in person because it was our 10th year. People wore their masks. I had one company, CVS, they were supposed to buy a booth for about $1,500. And at a couple, maybe a week before, they emailed me and said, we've decided not to buy a booth. And I'm saying, oh no. But we have decided to sponsor you at $10,000. And it just blew my mind. Along with that, I had in April began to apply for various grants. I had not had good funding through this time. There's no one standing out there giving out money for sickle cell organizations, and nonprofits in general just struggle. And through the pandemic, besides having to take care of my home, I found myself having to support the organization out of my pocket, which was difficult. So I had to have that conversation. Lord, I can't continue like this. He said, stay the course. I'm going to send you help. And so as of April, I had applied for 5 specific grants, And the first one came in at $1,000. And I said, okay, we can do that. And the next one came in at $3,000. And I'm saying, okay. And then 5,000, and then 10,000. And then most recently, I've been awarded a government grant of 180,000. And so I just know that God is faithful. As Karen told you all earlier, I did lose my daughter. She transitioned in September of 2019 when she went to the hospital for a sickle cell pain crisis. She did not die of sickle cell, but I won't get into that. But it has caused a lot of pain. But I am still able to smile. I'm still able to do the things that I do. I found after my daughter transitioned that so many people were calling. One of the doctors here told me that she received call after call from physicians all over the country saying, giving their condolence on the loss of my daughter to her. And she said, well, make sure you let her mom know this. Well, this was because she had made an impact. She had touched so many people, and she is still, her legacy is still moving forward today. And I am able to still continue what it is that I do on a day-to-day basis. I get to speak to various crowds. Sometimes it's difficult to pull it all together and hold it together through it, but I am able to do that, and I feel that I am making an impact and continuing to carry on her legacy. So although my daughter was born with sickle cell disease, like I said, the journey of being her parent and doing what I do has not all been dismal. I have been able to make an impact in the community, and thank you for having me.
Every time I hear you speak, Rosemary, I get a different facet and a different awareness and a different appreciation for your brilliance, your openness to just be this messenger, this emissary is the word that keeps coming up for me, for everyone who is, been struck with this disease. I just feel like you're such a voice for so many people. So thank you for everything you do. And of course, all that money came in. No big deal.
I wanted to say that my daughter had this song that she liked to play called Won't He Do It? And it said, won't he do it? He said he would. And so after she transitioned, it would be difficult to hear that song. I would turn it off because I could see her just bopping around to it. But as these things have been coming forward, I've been hearing that song in my head, won't he do it? But the thing about it is I can hear her saying, well, why are you surprised? He said he would.
Oh man, your own personal angel. I love it. What's her name? May we honor her today?
Yes, her name is Ronisha Oti.
Ronisha.
Rosemary, I can't help but think that money, how her little hands are on that money, that her legacy is being blessed. And I am so glad when you had your doubts as to whether you could continue the work, that you waited for that still voice to tell you to keep going.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments? I know there's a bunch in the chat, but if you'd like to unmute yourself and speak with Rosemary, let's do that in the next few minutes, please.
My dogs are speaking.
Oh, there you go. And there's all kinds of messages in the chat.
I just wanted, this is Catherine. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, first I'd like to say, Rosemary, you are beautiful. And you look like a CEO, and what you've just shared is what I think people would like to hear. You talked about speaking. You're so sincere and you're so well spoken. I admire you for what you've done for yourself as well. But I wanted to tell you, I just think you are beautiful and have the look of a CEO, of course. I wanted to share that.
Thank you.
Mm,
She does.
yes, she does.
And she is CEO of.
Right.
Any other comments? And then we're just going to add, well, I know, let's start with you, Rosemary. I know that you mentioned that you got this push or nudge or however you want to call it to start this organization at one of Karen's workshops. Would you like to say anything at all about how Gateway to Dreams has helped you?
So, yes, I feel like every time that I am able to connect with Gateway to Dreams, I get something else that helps me to continue to push forward, to grow what it is that I'm doing, and just stay energized because of the people that are participants, the knowledge that I receive, and Karen's encouragement, of course.
Yeah, that's pretty magic right there. So, yeah, thank you. It's you. Anyway, it's still ringing in my head, the resilience, Rosemary. So anyway, the resilient Rosemary. Okay. Any other, I don't know if I see any other hands or anything. Are there any others who'd like to speak about what membership in the Gateway to Dreams community means to them? Okay. I think I shared earlier, which is funny to me, in the small group when I was with Missy. She was asking about my work, and I just want to say that I would not probably imagine myself doing the work that I'm doing now, because if I hadn't have gone through and taken advantage of all the practice workshops I did, I call them practice workshops, where I honed my skills and wrote these various programs so that when I was connected with a potential, I wrote my proposal and I already had everything written. Everything I wanted to provide for their leadership development program was already in place. So there's something magical about learning to believe in who you are and then getting that nudge. Debbie Josendale was the one that said, why aren't you working with global women leaders? And I was like, oh, that's my dream. She says, well, then go for it. A week later is when I got my call. So there's something about this space that allows us to think bigger and beyond where we would probably choose to go on our own. And other than that, I just wanted to say, do we want to have Missy do the?
We've got a couple of hands raised.
Okay,
So
good.
Sheva wants to talk, and then Michelle.
Okay.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Well, this community has just been, well, first of all, I just want to say, Rosemary, beautiful presentation. And and Catherine, thank you. Thank you everyone here and all that you do and give and be for this community. And I also want to just acknowledge how much I feel like I am just like so blessed to have this community, because it was just like I was just at the very beginning stages of rebuilding my life, rebuilding my confidence and my strength back. And this community of amazing, heart-centered women, especially Karen, never gave up in seeing what I had to offer, even when I didn't see it yet. And so it was that nurturing that continued to bring me back and breathe life into me, even when I felt like I was at my lowest space. And each one of you have really touched me so deeply and so profoundly. And I just feel that I have been given wings again, and I really owe it to Karen and Gateway to Dreams, and I'm just so forever grateful.
And we're blessed to have you as part of the community. Tiffany, did you say there was someone else?
Everything.
I'd like to speak.
Michelle has her hand up too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and mine's just really brief. When Deborah asked the group just a moment ago if anyone wanted to say how Gateway has touched their, Gateway to Dreams has touched their lives, and there was silence, that's how I feel. There's no words, right? We reiterate all the time, but there's really no words. It is the silent wind beneath our wings. And it comes in small doses just when you need it. I mean, that's why we really need to get that latest magazine that Karen works so hard with her daughter on, because I just feel like there should be more than 15 of us on here. We're an important 15, but we just need to somehow, some way, we need to create more vibration, of the group. So anyway, I love you all.
You, Michelle.
So Deborah, we have a couple of hands raised, and I know Catherine wanted to say something. Do we have time for a couple more? You're muted. Deborah, you're muted.
That's not helping things. We have 5 minutes. So Catherine, can you make it quickly?
Great.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I would like to say that what's happened for me is that I've been pretty isolated and not connecting with individuals that I admire, can learn from, or just feel. And the Zoom, and Karen, of course, encouraged me. Zoom has opened up my world, and Gateway to Dreams has opened up my world. And I was pretty much depressed and not doing anything on my behalf. And since I have been engaged with Gateway to Dreams and all the different programs, I have re-energized, and thanks to the program, I'm working on my dreams. So I want to thank Karen for insisting that I participate, because it's opened up my world.
Pushing you a little bit, pushing you.
Very much so. I was not too interested in Zoom.
But I knew it would help. I knew.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we have Missy with a closing quote and the I am responsible queued up so that we can end right on time. It makes me so happy.
Well, am I unmuted?
Yeah, you're unmuted. We hear you.
We did have a couple
well,
of
I
additional
just-
hands raised. Do you want to, do we not have time for that?
Who was
Yep.
that?
Go.
I said there were a couple of additional hands raised. Do we need to move on?
Yeah, well, no, let's go ahead and honor them, but we will be going, I guess, a couple of minutes over. So I'm gonna mute.
Got it. Sorry. Aneezer, do you want to say something real quick?
Yes, two things. First of all, I just want to say can you all hear me? Okay, I just wanted to say to Rosemary, I'm just so excited and elated to see you today and to hear you share your story, your testimony, and the same word that Deborah said came to mind, and that was resilience. A lot of people talk about how strong you are, but you don't always feel so strong. But your resilience is absolutely epic to me, and I just want to encourage you. And I've already shared about Gateway to Dreams, what it has done for me, and I am literally seeing the results of becoming a part of this community, and I am so proud to be a part. And Karen, my husband's chest just stuck all the way out. I opened the magazine and just put it on the counter. So when he came in yesterday, the first thing he would see was my ad, and he just totally flipped. And I thought to myself, you don't know it yet, but you're going to be an advertiser next month, next season. So I just want to thank you all of you who have become a part of my life, because my life is so much better for it. And thank you, Karen, for your heart and all of that good stuff. You rock. That's all.
Mhm. Okay.
Did we get everybody
Yep.
that wanted to say something? Okay. Well, I would just like to introduce the wonderful women that are behind Karen that help her keep this group going, and are her sounding board and support in what she's creating. We have the lovely Deborah Leanne Morley, who is our MC today, Debbie Josendale, Dr. Marty K. Casey, Kathy Lambert, who is playing a phenomenal role in what Karen is doing now, Tracy Flay, and our newest member to the board, Dawn Berry, and then our fabulous executive director, Miss Karen Hoffman. And behind all of that, there are a host of volunteers, and there are always volunteer opportunities for anybody that would like to, donate time, suggestions, just, anything that you want to do, whether it's technical, not technical. We have all kinds of things that Karen can utilize our talents for. So be sure to reach out to her. You can reach out to myself or Heidi Maxwell, and we would love to help you help us. And if you are limited on time, there are always other ways to donate to Gateway to Dreams. So if you'd like to take a picture of how you can do that, the link that is here, it goes to the programs that we have, Connecting and Promoting Women, Joy of Goals, and Write Your Book Right Now. Do we have all of them listed now, Karen? Should we add Be the Change?
Yeah, we'll have to add that. Yeah. Thank you.
So this is always an amazing quote, and in keeping with the launch of Be the Change St. Louis, and what everybody is doing, Rosemary and Catherine, I think this quote sums it up, that we all need to be the change we wish to see in the world. And it does start with each and every one of us. How we show up, the seeds we plant affect so many people around us. And I just want to encourage you all to be the change you want to see, and be kind and love each other and support each other. And finally, the famous Pookie Lee song. We end with this every month, and Miss Tiffany will mute us all, but we encourage you to sing it and embrace it and be responsible.
All right, here we go. So yeah, everybody's muted, and so sing your hearts out. Here we go. Have a great month.
We lost.
This has never happened before.
What?
Did we lose you, Tiffany? The song.
Oh
It's gone.
no. Where'd it
It's,
go?
there it is.
Okay.
Looking around the world, and what do I see? So many things in a state of need. Pain and suffering all around me. I won't stand by and just let this be, 'cause I am responsible. I am responsible. responsible to leave the world a better place. Everywhere, everyone wants to be free. Some look around and say, it's not me. How can they close their eyes and not see? It all comes down to me. Because I am responsible. I am responsible. I am responsible to leave the world a better place. I said I am responsible. I am responsible. I am responsible to leave the world a better place. I'm reliable, accountable, dependable, invincible. I'm capable, incredible, responsible. I'm reliable, accountable, dependable, invincible. I'm capable, incredible, responsible. 'Cause I am responsible. I am responsible. I am responsible to leave the world a better place. I say I am responsible. I am responsible. I am responsible to leave the world a better place. I said I am responsible. I am responsible. I am responsible to leave the world a better place. To leave the world a better place. To leave the world